know something I had realized when rewatching Stranger Things? So, this is supposed to be Steve's bet. Well, as I explained in my review for season 1, this is just a Spirit Halloween prop, but hey, it's close enough to resemblance of Steve's bet and Stranger Things. But point is, so yeah, we see this bet in the first 2 seasons, but then after that, it is nowhere to be seen again in Stranger Things 3 and 4. What the hell happened to Steve's bet? Alrighty, so I finished writing down my notes on Stranger Things 3, so expect my season 3 review tomorrow. And hopefully, I am able to finish my review series before Wednesday, as I had calculated how long it would take me, my brother, and his girlfriend to finish watching Stranger Things 4. Where on Friday, we had watched the last 2 episodes of Season 3, then the first episode of Season 4, and then for the rest of the days, we'd just be watching 2 episodes each, since we have like 9 movies in the 4th season. But yeah, we had only watched episode 2 last night, so hopefully we'll catch up and watch at least 2 to 3 episodes a day, and then we'll be back on track for tomorrow, where we watched episodes 6 to 7. I know what you're gonna do. Don't you dare. I know what you're doing. Don't you think about commenting 6, 7 in my comment section. Because I had gotten tons of comments about 6, 7 when I had posted that short TikTok video about, like, all the superhero movies we'd be getting for 2026 and 2027. But back to topic. I don't know how am I going to make notes for when I review Season 4. I just hope to finish my review series of Stranger Things before the final season comes out with Volume 1 with the first 4 episodes on Wednesday. But anyways, hello everyone. Welcome back to another review on Stranger Things in preparation for the final season coming out. So, I had already discussed my experience to how I came across Stranger Things, which was that I didn't fully check out the entire series until when Season 2 was released around Halloween of 2017. And watching Season 1 was definitely an experience for me that left an impact on me, but also made me a full-on Stranger Things fan. As for how long it took me to watch Season 2, yeah, that was torture. Whether I had login problems with Netflix or I didn't have much access to Netflix, just I don't remember all the details. I just know that it took me a while to finish Season 2. Eventually, in between, I kind of forgot about it, which, how could I? Actually, no, let me correct myself on that. I didn't fully forget about it. It was on the back of my mind. It's just, I didn't know how I could watch it because I would have needed to be logged into Netflix or have access to Netflix. But yeah, like I mentioned in my last review, I had binge-watched the first season on a school night on my tablet because this was coming out by the time I was in middle school. And to make matters worse for me, as I tried to watch all 9 episodes of Stranger Things 2, I was spoiled for certain stuff that happened at the end of the season. Specifically 2 scenes that involve Bob's death and Mike and Eleven sharing a kiss at a school dance. But yeah, I can't recall which Christmas it was, whether it was 2017 or 2018. I just know that I did finish Season 2 around Christmas time at my Nana's place as I watched the entire series on her tablet. So while my experience with Season 1 was memorable, my experience with Season 2 was torture because of how long it took me to finish the damn season. But now that I've discussed my experience watching Season 2, what did I thought about Stranger Things 2? Well, I overall enjoyed it. I'd say it's a good follow-up to Season 1, as I'd say the first 2 seasons are focused on Will Byers mainly. Season 1 was all about trying to find Will because he's missing throughout the entire season. As for Season 2, yeah, we have an issue with him when he gets possessed later, but we get to know him this time around, as he's in the season more often, considering how missing he was in the last season. But yeah, we get some breadcrumbs about his character in the last season, but we get to know him fully in the second season, as we now have to save him from the Mind Flayer who possesses him in, I believe, the 2nd or 3rd episode. The last season had teased that he's still connected to the Upside Down, and in this season we get to see how that affects him, both mentally and physically. Physically for the part where he gets possessed by the Mind Flayer. Oh yeah, and since we had the Demogorgon as the main villain in Season 1, the main villain for Season 2 is the Mind Flayer. But I'm conflicted on how I feel with Season 2, because I could say this is my least favorite season of the entire series, or that it's the weakest of the bunch. Not to say it's bad, and we don't have a bad season, just maybe one disappointing, underwhelming episode that serves no part to the main story. But we'll get to my thoughts with the Lost Sister episode in a sec, but we do get introduced to new characters like step-siblings, Max and Billy, Dr. Owens, and Murray, along with Lucas's little sister, Erica, who we won't get to spend a lot of time with until next season. And the same can go for Murray. Now let's get on with what I liked about Season 2. Right off the bat, I have no idea where this love for Steve Harrington had begun, as I only started to notice this in between Seasons 3 and 4, but if I had to guess, it must have started in this second season, because Season 1, he was a bit of a bully, but not a bad guy, unlike Billy in the season, but He had an arc in the last season where he went from douchey bully to becoming not only a fan favorite of Stranger Things, but also the best goddamn babysitter in season 2. Not only that, but we also get one of the best dynamic duos I have ever seen on screen, and that is Dustin and Steve. My god, I love these two together on screen. But speaking about duos, I really liked the relationship Jim Hopper and Eleven have as they form a father-daughter relationship. Plus, it's Hopper's second chance of having a daughter since he lost his daughter last season in a sad, tragic backstory, but their father-daughter duo is one of the highlights for me in season 2. But speaking about Eleven, I was so happy to see Mike and Elle reunited 8 episodes later because they're so cute together. I love them so much as a couple, but I'm just glad that Eleven is alive, which thank God. But as I mentioned when I said that we get to know more about Will in season 2, I was happy we got to have more screen time considering how much Ro was missing in the last season. I just feel bad that the Byers family had to go through hell once again. But I do like Max as she's got an attitude, but I also enjoy the small romance we get between Lucas and Max. As for Bob, who's a new character into season 2, he's Joyce's new boyfriend, and Bob is the best. He is so much better than that ex-husband, which I'm glad we didn't see him again in this second season. I just wish that Bob didn't die by demo dogs, which would be short for Demogorgon dogs. But seriously, why, Duffer Brothers? Why? One last duo to mention about, Jonathan and Nancy. I was happy to see them become a couple in this season because there was sort of tension between the two of them last season, as we do have a love triangle with them and Steve, but now rewatching season 2, I feel bad for Steve getting dumped by Nancy. Now, as for my thoughts with the story this time around, we get introduced to the Mind Flayer as the main villain, along with its Demogorgon dogs, or Demo Dogs for short, as Dart, who is Dustin's little pet, who ends up killing Dustin's cat, which, no, not Dustin's cat! Sorry, back to topic. I wasn't sure to like Dr. Owens until the last 2 episodes where the dude was mainly a good guy as we get introduced to him. The show does it on purpose to throw you off on whether this guy is good or not, but the last 2 episodes are worth the mystery we follow this second season as Hopper is on a side quest for what's poisoning the pumpkins, Eleven on her side mission in episode 7, Steve, Dustin, Lucas, and Max fighting Dart the Demo Dog, and Mike with Mrs. Byers and Will trying to figure out how to help Will because he's connected to the Upside Down. But you remember in my season 1 review where I had mentioned that Steve was supposed to be a douche bully, but the Duffer Brothers ended up liking the actor, they changed his character at the end? Well, that role went into Billy, who was basically a perfect rival against Steve Harrington, and is also a bit of a racist character towards Lucas, as he tells Max to stay away from him. And you definitely hate this dude's guts for how he is in season 2, but thankfully Max puts him in his place around the season 2 finale, especially for almost getting rid of his cojones using this bat. Now, if I had to mention any negatives for season 2, I am slightly annoyed about Hopper keeping Eleven a secret to Mike as Bro is missing her badly after a year later, but I know it's for a good reason because there's people still looking for her. Now we get to know more about her birth mother as we were introduced to her last season, and then of course we have a filler episode with the lost sister. I was shocked to find out that there were more kids like Eleven as it got me intrigued, but I guess most of my negatives, despite other nitpicks I have for season 2, is gonna go to episode 7 because it serves no purpose to the main story. Sure, we learn a little bit about Eleven, but it's pretty much the weakest episode of season 2. I don't know if this episode is supposed to be a setup for a spin-off series. I'll admit, I kinda wanted to follow up to conclude this storyline, but this will probably be the last time we ever see this character. But my final thoughts with season 2, I overall enjoyed Stranger Things 2, despite me being back and forth if season 1 is better than season 2 or not, but my rating for this series as a whole is a 10 out of 10 either way for me. Because 2 seasons in, not only am I caught up with everyone, but I have become a full-on Stranger Things fan, as this became my favorite show on Netflix. Now, I had mentioned I was back and forth with my rating on season 1, but now thinking about it, I decided to make up my mind and give season 1 a 9.5 out of 10, while I give season 2 an 8 out of 10. And the reason for that is mostly because of episode 7 being the weakest episode of the entire series. Although I find it funny that seasons 2 and 4 have a total of 9 episodes, while seasons 1, 3, and 5 have a total of 8 episodes. What's up with that? Oh. Well, that explains it. Anyways, by the last 2 episodes, everyone comes together to team up on saving Will from the Mind Flayer and close the gate to the Upside Down, since 11 is responsible for opening it in the last season. But just to get off topic real quick, it's crazy to find out that at one point, the original plan for Bob dying in the 2nd season was that he'd be killed by possessed Will, until the Duffer Brothers had changed their minds later on. Anyways, now back to topic. As I mentioned earlier, the last 2 episodes are awesome, as the suspense is bigger this time around, and everyone, well, almost everyone get a happy ending, where 11 is adopted by Jim Hopper, Max and Lucas become a couple, and Mike and 11 end up going to the snowball dance together, which was a nice callback to the last season finale. But here's one more thing I liked about these 2 seasons that involved the Byers house. And last season, Joyce used a bunch of Christmas lights to communicate with Will. And in this season, we have Will make a bunch of drawings, since he likes to draw a lot, that ends up being a map of Hawkins. Actually, now thinking about it, me and Will are kind of similar when it comes to drawing. But yeah, that's just something I want to mention about the Byers house, is that I enjoyed how it was used for purposes involving Will, where first time it was to communicate with Will through the lights, second time it was to cover the entire house with a bunch of drawings, which would have been a map of Hawkins, thanks to Bob figuring that out. I just like seeing the house covered in Christmas lights and in a bunch of drawings. Although, I'm gonna be quite heartbroken to know what happens with the Byers house next season. But it seems like the nightmare was finally over now that the gate was closed. But sadly, this wasn't over yet. And with that being said, those were my thoughts on Stranger Things 2, which, having to end my review for Season 1, that video ended up being 14 minutes long. But hey, I predicted that I was hoping to keep it at least 15 minutes long, and I'm sure this video is probably going to be shorter than 14 minutes, or if I'm lucky, maybe between 14 or 15 minutes long. I don't know, but now just thinking about it, yeah, it seems like I should have done that double season review, but whatever. My folks are telling me to make shorter videos because I keep making long-ass YouTube videos. Plus, I had made these thumbnails and kind of wanted to review each season separately. But before I end the video here, I'm quite sad that this was the last time we saw Steve's bat, because I don't know what the hell happened to it, but I have been seeing it pop up in recent commercial ads for Stranger Things 5, as they're going all out with the commercials, which, man, it's taking me back to when we had the commercials for both Stranger Things 3 and 4. But I swear, if this bat does not make a return in Season 5, I'm gonna be real disappointed. Cause say if this bat does come back in the final season, I'm gonna lose my mind and go full Soups mode and just scream excited, like as if I'm in the theater watching Spider-Man No Way Home and Tobey and Andrew show up on screen. But yeah, my experience may have been rough with Season 2, but I was fully caught up and had to wait either a whole year or maybe just a few months. I don't know, depending when I had finished Season 2, whether it was Christmas 2017 or 2018, I was caught up with Stranger Things and was anticipating to see Stranger Things 3 as it would take place on the 4th of July. I'll be sure to discuss my thoughts on Season 3 tomorrow, but definitely let me know what thoughts comes down below on Stranger Things 2. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and as always, I'll see you all in the next review for Stranger Things. Peace out.